Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ungainly Titan. Once again we're on Seigfried Line and we're in the IS-3 standard battle, and this is probably the last game that I've had in the IS-3. I've moved on to the T10 and I've actually been playing the tier 10 tanks over the weekend. Not with great success. I've had rather poor success, mostly I think down to the poor internet connectivity. I've had playable games, but at the same time you're getting a lot of well, the shooting would be very inaccurate. It wouldn't, you weren't dropping the shots where you'd expect them to go. Looking at the reticle, you'd expect a penetration. You were getting bounces and stuff like that, so I was getting a lot of that. So and I was having a limited amount of time. There is a lot of congestion on the line. I know I had a complaint in my ISP to find an intermittent fault, which I think has been an ongoing feature. I've had this intermittent fault for a long time now, and they don't seem to be able to track it down. They have replaced the cabling from my house to the main trunk line along the road, and there's no sign of the upgrade coming yet. The engineer didn't seem to know anything about it, although he reckoned it was probably happening this year. However, we'll see. We're here at the corner, and as soon as that 110 pops up, I have to ignore the rest of the tanks, put myself in a position where only the 110 is my opponent, and wait for him to come back out. He comes out sideways, which is quite nice of him. So we get to track him, and he doesn't seem to have a repair kit. Joined by an IS-3, and I'm still not fully reloaded, but I prefer to shoot the 110 because just keep the damage on the same tank. So I shoot the 110, he catches fire, and somebody else finishes him off. The IS-3 sits there at the corner, thinks about things for a while, and eventually changes his mind. So I come around, peek the corner again. That TVP is still there. I'm going to take my chance with the IS-3, and then he turns up just south of the block, mid-block in front of me. There's a Centurion and there's a TVP, and I haven't got much of a shot on the TVP. And he has done some damage to me. That was artillery, I think, dropping one on the Centurion. They didn't get very close, but they did a bit of damage. Or maybe it was a tank destroyer from up the hill. Light tank, possibly? Possibly. I don't know what the artillery is. I was a bit too late there with the Centurion, and I've decided that it's probably my best bet. That was from a Nashorn back in the field somewhere. And my best bet was not hanging around there where people back in the field could shoot at me, but coming around the corner here. See if I can clear some tanks off the back line. I come to the corner here and the IS-3 is coming back. However, I fire just as he's passing behind the wreck of the other tank, which is a rather big mistake of mine. Now, just looking from where the IS-3's gun is pointing, and the way he fired there, I think he's suffering from lag. He's pointing to where I was like 5 seconds previously. It's really odd. It's very funny. And I think that shot should have gone into me. If he fired in the direction he was firing, or it should have at least bounced off my tracks or hit my tracks. There's definitely something lag going on there, and I think I was actually fortunate enough in the sense that he had he should have gotten at least one shot into me. You would expect that. He probably might have gotten two. We were both very similar kinds of tanks with very similar characteristics. Well, we're both the same tank. However, I was quite fortunate there, really, I suppose, that the lag at this stage favoured me rather than somebody else. So I decided to go out the field and catch these tank destroyers. However, by the time I got there, somebody else was picking them off. I suspect it's my friend in the KV-5. And anyway, but we've wrapped up the southern end of the town quite nicely. We're well outnumber the enemy tanks, and there's a Scorpion spotted out the field. At this point I was still convinced There was a tank destroyer somewhere to my left, but I said to go for the Scorpion anyway, especially since he didn't appear to be looking at me initially. We put a round into him, but as I'm backing off for the reload to cover my front plate, he managed to get a revenge shot into me and did quite a bit of damage. However, I'm going to beat his reload because he fired well into my reload cycle. So then I have this inexplicable movement towards the rear of the map because I think I didn't realize how far back I was. And when I do, I just turn around and said, right, we're going to support the light tank out in the middle of the field. There is still a heavy tank by the city walls that's being engaged by the rest of the team. But there's no point in me joining in that gunfight. If the light tank goes out in the middle of the field and he's too far away for support and he spots stuff, and they kill him when, shall we say, when he's nobody there to help him, and the rest of us are going to have to do it the hard way against the tank destroyers that are out here, like that IKV 652 H2. It looks like an IKV 652. Anyway, we let the gun sight settle. He's just rocking back and forth in the same spot from my perspective, so that round should go into him. And he now knows I'm here, but he has no idea where I am. But I reckon he's still around there somewhere. So we finish him off with the blind shot, and then we continue on. But as we're advancing, the light tank spots the T-25AT, and I think the T-25AT takes him out. But we get him, and now there's just medium tank left. Now I had no idea where the medium tank was. I thought he might be still out here in the field, so I continued on towards the rear of to the eastern end of the map. However, the light tank then appears at the western end of the town. So I turn around more in hope rather than expectation. I didn't really expect to get back in time to get involved in this stage of the fight. The medium takes out the artillery, and it looks initially like he's going to go for some other members of the team, but then he disengages, breaks off, and disappears from view. That is probably a smart play on his part. However, he now needs to get out of the town, really, and probably take on the tanks in the field or something like that. So I thought that's probably what he's going to do, and then I might be able to catch him as he passes through his own cap circle. Although he might have been better off if he actually doubled back towards our cap circle and slipped out that way, because we're all heading south at the moment. So I'm coming up here to the Dragon's Teeth, and Sixth Sense goes off. So he's here, and he's quite a distance away, so I'm able to get a shot into him and close the distance, and he's within view range of tanks behind me, so he is in serious trouble here, and he makes the mistake of trying to circle me. It lets me get the second shot off, which tracks him, but I think he shouldn't have bothered. I think he should have gone straight over the ridgeline, cut along the Dragon's Teeth on the outside, and just try to lose us in the low ground around the gates and get into cover, get out of view range, and try and stretch us out so that we'd have to chase him around the open field. Fortunately, we didn't have to do that, so it made life a lot easier. Got me a first class mastery, 3.5k damage, over 1300 assisted damage, number 1 by experience, and overall a pretty good game. I must say that I really enjoyed the IS-3 line, and I look forward to the T10. I've had 2 games in it that were both pretty decent games in my opinion, and it looks like a very similar play style. I've heard a lot of people complain about the IS-7. I don't know. I'm not in a terrible hurry to get the IS-7 either. I certainly want to unlock it, but I'm not in a terrible hurry to get it, because I'm just not that good at tier 10, and I want to go back now probably and build up some credit and play the Americans for a while, complete some of those grinds. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. If you haven't already done so, please consider giving the channel a subscription. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.